me up to date because you've got a job title. And I'm not going to take.
I know where you're going.
I'm not going to take the complete piss, Alex. But you've got a job title.
Yeah.
That I don't even know what that means really. You know, what is the culture director? What does that mean? What are you actually doing?
I'll go back a little bit, just the history. Yes, you're right. I've been in services all my life, never got into sales. I wish I had, I suppose, but I never got into sales. And as the business grew, it grew. I sort of used to go to the board meetings, used to love the board meetings, it will be energetic and going. But I'm not a numbers person, as I said. And I felt my strength lies with dealing with people and the culture. So 2018, 2019, I had a conversation with the owner, Justin. And I also said, I'm now mid to late 50s now. I really want to make an impact on people's lives. My job, even though I was manager or director, whatever I want to do, fancy title they used to give me, it's still, I deal with the people. So we had a conversation. I do actually remember it because I'm quite easygoing. And I will thank Natalie for this. I will shout out Natalie, who's my sort of boss now. I will big facts now. She said to me, what do you want to do in life? I said, I want to realistically get into more of a coaching and a culture sort of thing. But we've got to do a presentation and tell people what do you want to do to the senior management board. So I actually had a little sort of vanilla slide deck, what I want to do. And then I had a picture of a lion saying, actually, I'm going to be brave now. So I had a picture of a lion, changed the slide deck completely to say, what I want to do is this. I want to be true to myself, be authentic, and I want to help the business grow, but by me helping the people grow. And that's what I did. So I remember the presentation. It's like, right, that's the vanilla stuff, all the numbers, and great job as a director. However, I want to be a culture director, and what we're going to do is, here's the business plan. So I did work with Natalie, the people director, and the rest is history. So what does culture want to do? If that's what you're asking, isn't it?
Well, what makes a good culture? Because a lot of people will be listening to this podcast and in the channel, you've mentioned it already, there's different cultures throughout the IT channel. There's lots of small resellers that will still have a Wolf of Wall Street culture and do pretty well with it, and there's other cultures that are all about the people and they do very well as well. So what makes a good culture? And we'll come on to CAE in a minute, but in general, what do you think makes a good culture?
I actually think it's walk the talk from the top. And I think bottom line is if you've got people in the business, whatever the culture, we mentioned before, whatever a culture is, it could be toxic, it could be good. But to me, for a good culture, it's walking the talk from the leadership, number one. And it's also calling out people who don't follow whatever that culture is.
Yeah, because what do you mean by toxic culture? What's a toxic culture? Okay,
toxic culture to me, and I'm funny, we're talking about like, sales guys, they're really aggressive and A-type. That's actually fine. If that's what your culture is, you want to make lots of money, fill your boots. To me, a toxic culture is when you get backstabbing, it's just all stuff going on in the background, there's no sort of harmony between the teams. Yeah. To me, that's toxic. You're just not going to go where it's destructive, basically, as well.
So when you got the job, and you created this job and this vision, this business plan, what was it you were trying to imprint on the CAE? So what was the stuff that you were going to change for the culture? Because you must have had a bit of a vision and thought, actually, this is the culture I want to set for CAE.
That's a bloody good question. I think in a nutshell, I think we knew we had a good culture, whatever it is to us.
Yeah.
But how do you I said before, nailing the monster to the ceiling. What is it? It's intangible. What the hell is this bloody culture thing?
Yeah.
So actually we actually went out to the team. We're trying not to call them staff, that's the people, the employees. We went out to the teams and said, what words would you describe as your culture for the business? And we got all these words and brainstormed on the wall. We picked out about 5 or 6, like accountability, agile, responsibility, accountable. We made that into a culture book.
So a
culture book. So we've done it for 3 years now. So every year, we've got it printed around the building anyway, but every year we have a culture book. We interview people at the Purple Couch. We do a bit like this actually. We interview about 20 people every year, and if everybody wants to get on it, they love it, they volunteer, they go on it. And then you also got lots of other stuff you do in D&I and all that lovely stuff. But it's also just nailing down around integrity even, accountability. How do you do your job? How can you help each other? And then we've got a bit of software we use as well. You can send thank yous to people. We have awards every month as well about doing those behaviours. And again, it's shouting out, and we're still getting there, we're not perfect. It's shouting out people who don't do those behaviours.
Yeah, and how do you sort of develop that? Because you must have had people that, I'm guessing when you're trying to create a culture like that, you've got people that don't fit the culture.
Yep.
You've got people that want to work for you that might not fit the culture again. They might be just, I said to you before at lunchtime, if I was, and I'm a sales guy, yep. I'm a bit of a coin operator when I was actually doing the job, yep. I'll be coming to you thinking, I'm not really bothered about the culture, Ags. How much are you going to pay me? How do you sort of deal with people like that who you think might not fit the culture, but maybe do performance? Or how do you deal with it?
That's a toughie, but in all fairness, it's back to that thing. Everybody's different. We're all unique and got our brilliant own skill sets, and that's actually fantastic. If someone's an A-type person, as I call them, and they just want to go and hit the numbers, that's absolutely fine, but they need to understand they're still part of a team.
Yeah.
They can't do it alone. So to me, we always say to people, we've got loads of A-type sales guys, and they're awesome.
Yeah.
But they still need to recognise that they can't do it without sort of internal sales, without purchasing, without services. So it's trying to embed into them. Be yourself, be your unique self, and go and sell. If you're sort of like a hunter, brilliant, absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But plug into the team.
We mentioned at lunchtime about you might have one team that's in a pod, internal sales, techies, maybe a really good salesperson, and then they're taken about. They're almost like a little mini culture within the culture, and then you may have another person who's a bit more of a lone wolf. Do you think you can have subcultures within an overall culture? Is that able to achieve in a company your size? 20 people.
Easy, obviously. We're now 300 people now. So
but how many?
350.
How do you do that?
Yeah, it's all again back to training. It's getting the sort of line managers, the senior managers, all up on the same sort of hymn book, for want of a better word. Also, again, if they want to be a lone wolf, that's also fine. But bottom line is the subculture still got to be the overarching, match up to the overarching culture of the business. So subculture is absolutely fine, again, as long as it's not toxic, as long as it's not detrimental to the rest of the business.
No, absolutely. I could tell that you're passionate about people and developing people. How is your role within the Channel Community Programme that I've seen you've gone along to?
Yeah.
How has that helped you in your job? You're obviously quite passionate about people, culture, making things happen. So why did you join that? How did you get involved?
That was brilliant, actually, because Yvonne, everybody knows Yvonne. I think I met her before over lunch. We met over, I think it's in Vegas on the big Cisco events, and I think there's a great community, although we're all rivals on the day-to-day sort of stuff. When you get with these Cisco dudes, these big conferences with other big vendors, must quickly add as well, and Downco, you just get to know them as people and be friends with some of them. So I became really good friends with Yvonne. And then 18 months ago, she decided to sort of, bail out and be a full-time coach. Yeah. And she gave me a call and said, I want to do this. I want to give something back and set this community. And again, that's straight down my street. It's just what she's doing is phenomenal. And the team she's got with her who volunteer their own time to do this channel community is absolutely brilliant. And so we don't like the word mentoring, so we've called it buddies. I think she's mentioned it on her podcast. And I'm one of those. And I've had a couple of young sort of people come through on it and mentoring them. It's been absolutely brilliant. And it's so rewarding.
Do you get a lot out of it yourself?
Oh, you get so much out of it. When you see people come out and they're maybe not a bit lost, not quite sure what to do. And the idea of coaching, although it's mentoring, I still do coaching, so I'm not an expert in anything really. It's asking the right questions and getting them to answer. And just listen to understand where they're coming from. I've done 2 people so far. It's been an absolute joy.
Oh, fantastic. What more could be done about getting early age people to come into the industry, or encouraging people from a non-technology background to come into industry? Because you mentioned yourself, it was at British Aerospace you mentioned. Yeah. It's pretty extreme coming into IT.
Yeah.
How can we encourage more people to come into our industry? Because it's a great industry to come into.
It's a really tough one, isn't it? Because you're right, and I think unfortunately, at the moment, you've still got that small pool of people who just bounce around the business and earn more and more money. So I'm sure we'll get onto it in a minute. And you're thinking, well, actually, they're good, but what else can you do? I think you've got to go right back to school. We were talking, I went to Scotland a few weeks ago. I think it was women in IT. We're talking about how can you get women and other people, obviously, into IT. And you've got to get them young. And I'll give a very quick example. It's a really good one. We've got a foundation trust where a percentage of our business profit goes to these trustees. It's all about digital poverty. And I went up to see, I'm sure they might be saying on the podcast, Everton in the Community. It's one of our one we're working with. And they've got a bunch of young kids, and all their they've got no role models. It's all, unfortunately, drug dealers and, people sort of shaking and moving, to politely say. What they've done, the kids don't want to do programs, don't want to do computer programming, they don't want to do anything. So what they've done, we've supplied them with some iPads as part of the sponsorship. They've got a program by some very clever people to play football games. So getting these kids to understand IT and understand coding, because they've got to program the game to play.
Yeah, gamification sort of thing.
And these kids are whiz kids now. They would never done coding as a practice. So it's trying to be clever, look at alternative ways to get people interested in IT at a young age.
Yeah. Which is quite difficult, I think, as well, isn't it, to get into it. One of the things I wanted to really ask you was around the 4-day working week, because this has been a hot topic. And actually, one of your vendors, I think, Cisco trialled it. I think they're going to roll it out actually globally. Yeah, I think that's going to happen. Cisco are going to roll it out globally. I hope they don't mind me announcing that to the channel, but I think that's pretty clear that's going to happen across their workforce of 60,000-70,000. What's your view on this 4-day working week? Because I'm going to say my it probably won't go down well. My view on it is the IT channel was almost doing 4-day week anyway, but now it's officially basically don't work 1 day a week, and I'm sort of worried where it's going with that because is it suddenly going to go down? Actually, we want to attract more talent, so we're going to go to the 3-day working week. How far is this going to go? Because I'm seeing a lot of the power is definitely in the candidate's hand. The candidate's got lots of choices. Is it an attraction tool for people to say, actually, 4-day working week can work with us? Or what's your view on it? Would CAE ever do it, do you think?
That's a really good point. We have actually discussed it on a very high level, hypothetically speaking, I suppose. Again, total personal view, and I do struggle with it, I won't lie. Again, I'm all about the people. To me, it's about, work-life balance, well-being. Absolutely get that. But from a business point of view, it's almost, I suppose, what business you run. In sort of view, I don't know if it's administration, that sort of thing. Maybe you can get away with it and have sort of rotas and all that sort of stuff. But to me, you're still losing 20% of your business time. So how do you get that back? Some people say, I'll leave my phone on a Friday or I'll work extra hours during the week. So is that really a 4-day week? So I'm open to look at options, but would it work in resale land? It'd be tough. The reason I say that as well, if you've got a 24-hour knock, if you want to go to 4-day week, you then got to find, I would guess, 20% of people to rotate them through. Yeah. So how can the business sustain that?
They're almost saying to me that, companies are doing, like a rota. Like you work you have every other Friday off or every Friday off, and then one of the knock runs every other Monday off or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I was sort of thinking that, and I was actually at the HP festival this week, and I actually asked them, and they were saying to me, they're doing wellness days and doing X, Y, Z.
That's right, yeah.
Which is, again, I'm not knocking, looking after your staff, etc.
Absolutely.
But if you're a small company, I certainly couldn't afford to have all my staff off doing wellness days every other week. No. So is it easier if you're you're an HP or a Cisco doing this, or do you think it will trickle down, and do you think more companies will make the transition? Because there also was, an article in CRN saying that some of the smaller companies like Highgate Solutions, Cloud9, smaller partners were going to go and do it, and I was like, how are they doing this? And a lot of people were saying to me, it's almost inevitable that we'll go to 4-day weeks. So what's your view on that? Do you think it will happen for even some of the smaller partners?
I think it will actually, yeah. But
I do?
Yeah, I do. I don't necessarily think it's a good idea at the moment, but I think in time, people adapt and adapt and adapt. You say you still got the customers to work with. So again, I said I'm open to options, but at the moment, in my mind, you've lost 20% of the business. So you need to be very innovative. How are you going to get back that? And you could argue, I know sometimes they say in business, and obviously you're in recruitment, sometimes if you lose someone from the team, a small team, the rest of the team rally, and you actually get even better performance from them.
You do, yeah.
So maybe there is some logic behind that.